G'day, Max here again. Welcome back to the shop. Well, this will be episode 4, Swarf Chips, part 2 of the radius turning attachment. Before we get into that, we'll just check out a couple of up and coming jobs which I have to do just for the shop. This item here, it's a L.A. Rochlau grinding head. These are quite old. This would be, I'd imagine this would be quite at home in Dave Richards' steam powered shop. And that's the sort of age it is. So we'll do a bit of a restoration on this. I'm not going to, probably won't paint it. I'll probably leave it as it is because it is all original. The main thing I have to do on this is that the inner and outer spindles need to be freed up, so we might have to make a lapping tool just to take a whisker off. It takes a standard hard-inch 5C collet. So basically you put your end mill in there and it tilts and pivots to get your clearance and release when you're grinding your end mills on the tool and cutter grinder. So the outer spindle does the rotation, and the inner spindle does the longitudinal movements when you're grinding up the side of your flutes, your end mill, if you want to grind it that way. So that's an up and coming project. The next one will be to make up an adapter. I've previously discussed this grinding head. So I'll make an adapter and we'll get this mounted up in the boring head. We'll give a bit of a demo on how this works. Yeah, it's a jig grinding attachment, so as I said, I have previously mentioned it, but we'll do a demo on it. And lucky last is the old Australian made Weldon tool post grinder. So what we have to do with this, we'll put some new bearings in the motor. You can hear those spindle bearings, they're not real flash, so we'll try and track down some spindle bearings for it and get this back in action. I mean, we've had this for, oh God, I can't remember now, we've had it for years, so, since I was a wee grasshopper. Okay, so we've changed tact a bit on our design of the radius tool. I was previously, as shown in an earlier video, going to mount it instead of the compound slide, but I was finding that was giving me too much restriction in the size of the ball that it would turn. I mean, why mess around with marbles when you can have big kahunas, eh? So I'm going to make it sit on a bed plate which will pick up off the ways of the tailstock. So I made a bit of a sketch. So we'll make this plate, and the radius attachment will bolt to this plate, and that should let us, at least turn a 100mm diameter ball. So I'll cut out a piece of inch plate, and we'll put it in the mill. We'll get that machined up, sit it in place in the lathe, and go from there. As is like all this is just make it up as you go along. I mean, I don't have a CAD or any 3D computer modelling stuff, so I just use old school way. We'll make it as we go, a bit like R&D, and hope for the best. So we'll bring you back after I've cut the plate out, and we'll start machining. And one last project which I nearly forgot to mention was this indexing head. It's a wide range indexing head. This will allow the indexing to be done to cut 127 tooth gear, which is, a lot of you know, that's the transposing gear you need in your lathe gear train to be able to cut a metric thread on an imperial lathe. So we'll get this hooked up, we'll get all our calculations worked out, and we'll cut 127 tooth gear just for a demo. Stay tuned. sounds like something's going on there. We better investigate that. The old saw, she's rattling and banging. We better bring her around and have a look then. Well, sounds like something's going on in the drive, so we better pull the cover off and investigate that one. Oh, okay, there we are. The old shared keyway. Okay, we'll have to pop the pulley off and see what's going on and bring you back. Oh, okay, we've pulled the cover off the saw to check out this noise, and what we got, look at that, the pulley, that's like a cock in a shirt sleeve. That's been one of them jobs I've been meaning to tend to for a long time, and if you don't keep up with maintenance on your machines, this is exactly what happens. You're in the middle of something, your machine clags out, you've got to repair the bloody thing. So what I'll have to do is machine this bore out, press a sleeve in it, cut another keyway. Providing we don't have to pull the shaft out, we'll measure. We better mic this shaft up and see what it's like. 667, 667, 666 and a half, 666 and a quarter, 667. So we're within half a thou on the shaft, so we'll get away with that. That's an odd size, that's just a 15th under 17mm, which is alright. Okay, so I think for now I'll just bang a keyway in it, new key in it, tighten it up just to get this job done, and then we'll, looks like we'll have to do a video next week on re-sleeving and keying this pulley. We'll bring you back when we're all assembled. Okay, we'll give that a shot. That sounds a whole heap better. We'll continue on. Well, looks like we'll have to double cut this. There's a saw bottomed out on top of the work there, so we'll flip her over. Bring our saw back down. We'll have to pick up on that existing cut. Now we'll have to use a square to should be right there. Okay, that should pick up on the first cut, so away we go. Okay, so we've got our piece of 1-inch plate chopped out of our bigger piece of 1-inch plate. So I'll do a cut around the edges just to square everything up, bring it to size, and then a facing cut on both sides, and then we'll set it up and cut the V groove across. So Get her in the vise. Okay, now I think we will use, we've got this face mill here, works okay, it's an American Sun, so we'll give that we'll use that today. Number 4 Morse taper shank on it, let's put our drawbar in. Okay, we want to really be running that, probably around about 700 RPM we'll do it. We'll get a 2M, see how that looks. Okay, we'll see how we're going for size. Looking at our drawing, we're supposed to be 4 1/4 inches. It's not a super critical size, it's just a so we got about a 1/16 to come off that. We'll get a more accurate measurement. $4.2900. So we want 4.250. So 4.290 and we want 4.250. 4.20. So that leaves 40 thou to take off. Oh, just me trying. The old maths. It's like the old Chinaman in the fruit shop when we were growing up as kids. They'd write all the prices on the paper bag. You don't see that anymore. So 40 thou to come off. So set our dial 0. We'll come down 30. And we'll go back and take a 10 thou cleaning cut. close enough. No great deal of tolerance required in this. 4.251, 4.2505. That's close enough. Okay, so we've got our two of our edges done, so we'll do the remaining. This one here is an oxy cut edge, so we'll do that one last. We'll set our reset up against the edge here. Now, there's a couple of ways to do this. If you wanted some degree of accuracy, you just use your dial indicator and clock up vertically off this face here. But for what this does, for all intents and purposes, we will just go by parallel strip. The old Moore and Wright machinist square. Bugging me days if it's just oh, that's so close. Okay, we use a torch behind it. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, we'll try again. That was off to a good start. The bloody camera stopped filming again, so we'll see how we go. Bring her away from the cover a bit, give me a bit more room. Chooks are going off in the background there. Might be laying an egg. Okay. That's all four sides done. We've got our 4 1/4 by 5. We'll just take a cleaning cut across the top face and the lower face. So with that, I think I'll change this cutter out. I'll put a slightly larger one in. And This is an 80mm, or 3 1/8. Just use this one here, just this car. This has a bit of it's a positive rate cutter, so these are a bit easier than the neutral rate cutters as per that one. So we'll give this cutter a shot. I'll swap the cutters over, bring you back. Okay, we'll swap this cutter out. It'll be in a low speed. Okay, out with that one. In with the S-car. This has a little washer that goes in there. One day I'll make up dedicated arbors for these cutters, save having to swap them over. Just while we're swapping these cutters over, if you're looking at buying a small milling machine for your home shop, these little Chinese ones, if you're restricted for room, yeah, all well and good, but if you want to do anything with the slightest resemblance of accuracy, you can't rely solely on the dials on these machines. You need to set up dial indicators to track all your movements. They're not known for their high, or the ability to create high tolerance work, the old cheapo Chinese machines, but they get the job done. But if you want to do anything, within a thou, you've got to put dial indicators on all your movements, just so you can track your movements and see what's going on, especially after you start locking up your table and slides and that sort of thing. We'll get this plate set up on a couple of parallels. Some people will buy these machines and spend the money, extra couple of grand, put a DRO on them. I mean, personally, if you've got the room for like a Bridgeport style machine, you are heaps better off going that way than this style of machine. That's only if you've got the room. A lot of people don't. For a bit of a tap down. Bit of on that. Gronk, as Tom Lipton terms it. Okay. Our workpiece secure. So we just want a cleaning cut. There's absolutely no measurements on thickness whatsoever on this. We'll just go up one side and down the other. We'll just drop our head down. Which is another pain in the ass feature on these machines. In the distant future with this machine, once I get the new shop built and my Bridgeport set up in there and the other large ram type mill set up in there, this one here, we'll give this a bit of a birthday. I think she'll get there. Might get the Stephen Gotts winter treatment. So we'll strip her all down, go through all the slides, tighten everything up on it. Okay, so we want to be running this reasonable speed. See how this looks. She's 2M, 710 RPM. We'll see how she takes it. Well, we might have to split this one in two. I've just been going over the editing and it's going to draw out too long, so we'll put the V groove machining details in the next video. So you can't fit everything in one shot, otherwise it takes too long. So thanks for watching, and yeah, cheers.